Hi everyone. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow and to thrive, and also it's absolutely free. Thank you. So today is full moon day. The peak moment is around 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, with the sun and moon at around 25.5 degrees Virgo and Pisces, respectively. And this will, of course, affect people who have their sun degrees in that region, or for that matter, any other planet, including the ascendant. And one such person is the ex-president, because he has his sun at 23, almost 23 degrees Gemini, moon at 21 Sagittarius, so it's in the range through a square. And so this relates to the recent video in which you'll recall I mentioned he's in a very tricky zone with a lot of Mars pressure, especially. There's also Venus, black moon, and the sun involved as well, but the key transit is Mars, and so predictably the possibility of violence emerged through a so-called assassination attempt, which really didn't happen at all. The guy was in the bushes, he was run off, then he was apprehended, never had a clear shot or anything like that, but you can always count on the ex-president, because he's basically a giant sleazebag, to try to get political advantage. And so incredibly now he's saying that Harris and Biden need to tone down their rhetoric, which of course is absolutely farcical, since all the violence that has been around palpably since 2016 is entirely his fault, because he's always the one agitating and literally asking for violence. And probably the greatest example was January 6th. And so he's experiencing this himself now. But in terms of the astrology, on the one hand you could say this is the peak period, but the event happens a little bit before. There's also the unrest in Springfield through the lies that he and his running mate J.D. Vance are parroting in regard to the Haitian immigrants. So they're having all kinds of problems over there as a result. So there's agitation in the air, and yes, it's being caused by them, but they're also the recipients in terms of the negativity, because we're now beginning to see polls on a national level, as well as in the various battleground states, that are showing pretty discernible movement toward Harris. Now this is really going to upset him, probably even more than what might have happened at the golf course, because in reality nothing happened. So expect it to continue certainly for the next 2 or 3 days, because the full moon is precise today, but in reality, if you look at full moon energy, 2 days before, 2 days after, there's a swath of time when it's taking place. So expect it to continue, because for him it cuts across his second 8th sign polarity, and specifically the 8th where the moon is, because the sun is in his second, Virgo to Pisces. The 8th is a dangerous, difficult house, particularly when you behave the way he behaves, because, as I've said at various times, he constantly expresses the absolute bottom end of all the various planets, signs, you name it, that's what he's doing. So my sense is that this will definitely be happening now, today, tomorrow, the next day, in relationship to probable bad news for him, but it continues because it moves into all of next week as well. And my hope would be that we would get a cementing of the momentum that Kamala is building so that there's a little more daylight in terms of the numbers, in terms of the the distance in the race, because it continues to be quite tight. And we have to keep in mind that they're playing absolute hardball on the Republican side. Of course, Trump and J.D. Vance are. I mean, Vance was heard to say that he made the story up about Springfield, which is totally remarkable. And apparently they are planning to do a rally there, to continue to agitate. And even more concerning is that they're filing lawsuits in all the battleground states to try to suppress the voting. I suspect they're not going to be successful. In fact, I could say with near certainty they're not going to be successful, but they're trying everything because, underneath all of this, they know they're in trouble. They know they're in a lot of trouble, which is why, he says, he meaning the disgraceful ex-president, he says he's not going to debate Kamala, and actually he would be wise not to, because it's always a dangerous move to debate a prosecutor, particularly when you're a doofus like he is. But certainly in this case it's pretty clear that it's a terrible idea. But he might have to, because if he realizes that he is far enough behind, he might have to do it, whether he wants to or not. So anyways, there you have it. Enjoy the full moon. The thing about the full moon is that the energy intensifies. This is true whether it's a full moon with or without an eclipse. And what I notice about full moons is that the possibility of insights, of understanding something in a new way, those possibilities increase. Now, it's also true that full moon is definitely increased energy, but I also notice that another possibility is ups and downs, having periods during the 2 or 3 days when it is happening where one feels especially good, but then there might be another swath of time where the energy really drops and there is some type of crash as a result of that. What also comes to mind in regard to this full moon is that these degrees do affect the national chart of the U.S. because the U.S. has Mars at 21 degrees, Gemini, and Neptune up above in Virgo making a square, which also explains, the whole Trump phenomenon, because Trump's, Sun, Moon connect to the U.S. Mars, hence all the belligerence and the anger and all the rest. But the point being, this full moon is particularly important on the national level. All right, have a good day, everyone.